not being motivational, I do believe that success leaves clues. So I thought I would share with you just 8 things that I see my clients doing today that if you were looking for a roadmap, a set of principles that you could follow as you think about the balance of this year in 2023, high level, this is what it would be. But first, Chris knows my probably longest personal clients, Maxine and Marty Gellens, last year had just an unbelievable year, $290 million in volume, their best year ever. Maxine, by the way, the one with the reddish hair, turned 83 in April of this year, getting married, by the way, Chris, on November 11th in Del Mar. And guess what? They're on pace to do about the same exact volume this year in a marketplace where transaction count is down almost 30%. So if you can maintain last year's performance in an environment where your transaction count is 30%, that means you're doing a lot of the right stuff. Another example, Timmy Smith, one of my personal clients for about 13 years now, Newport Beach, California. I think he was number 1 or number 2 for all of Coldwell Banker last year on the team size. He's number 5 or 6 on the Wall Street Journal top 1,000 list. Last year, $803 million in volume, pacing this year $1.2 billion in a marketplace where, in Newport Beach, coastal Orange County, Laguna Beach, et cetera, transaction count is down about 18%, but volume continues to climb, which I think many of you can appreciate. DJ and Lindsay, another excellent example. I took them on about 7 years ago now, 6.5. And when I met them, they were good agents in Jacksonville, Florida, selling 65 homes a year. And when I talk about doubling, this is not the first time that I've said to people, you need to double your business if you want to scale, if you want to help more clients, if you believe in your service, if you understand that there's some lousy agents out there and the consumer deserves a better experience, AKA you. DJ and Lindsay got that. They actually went from 65 to over 120, 120 to 250, 250 to 500. Then we got stuck, 500 to about 863. And then we re-engineered some things I'm going to show you in a minute. And they went from 363 to over 2,900 in 1 year. That was last year. And we're pacing to do the same again this year, right? In a marketplace that is clearly declining on transactions. That's not a bad thing, right? It's just rates went up, inflation, and there's some slightly negative news in the market, as you know. So here's the question. If success leaves clues, what are some of the principles that these men and women are using that you could, as my clients know that are watching, R&D, rip off and duplicate? See, I learned a long time ago, if this person and this person and this person all do it the same way, I'm going to steal that and implement it versus try and reinvent the wheel over and over again. So high level, what do they have in common? Shouldn't shock you. The first one is they're all uber competitive. And if you're competitive, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, okay, I want to do more. What do I have to do? How do I get better? Right? You have that mindset. Maybe it's not the level of the great Michael Jordan as an example, but certainly someone like Chris Heller, who I've known forever, and so many of you, some familiar names that I saw. You didn't get to your level of performance without having some level of competitive spirit. I'm asking you to try and activate it even more in this market. The people I'm talking to, and I'm talking 10,000 plus clients in 29 countries now around the world, every one of them is saying the same thing. This is a land grab opportunity. Consumers are demanding a better experience and they want a professional, and I'm going to deliver it at scale. Number 2, very important distinction. About every 18 months, you get stale. You know it and I know it. You get stale, meaning it's time to innovate again. It's time to add something new to your business. And new could be a new service. Hey, I can remember years ago when it was launch your first website, then it was social, then it was video, then it was direct mail. All these things that we're adding, the adding strategy of building a business, cause this internal enthusiasm for you because you know you're doing something new, something special, something different, something, dare I say, iconic. And when you're doing something like that, you get that automatic energy that wake you up in the morning without an alarm clock because you're fired up about your business again. This group, though, does it by design. They know every 12 to 18 months, they've got to add something new to keep the spark and the energy of growth going. Number 3, this shouldn't shock you. They are fanatical about studying the MLS every single day, and not just studying the MLS. You should write this down because it's not in the notes. Chris, listen to this. All of my personal clients, which I only coach like 18 people, some CEOs of companies and these couple of these mega teams. What I've asked them all to do, write this in your notes, is go to your local college or two, find a professor of stats and a professor of economics. Go to them and say, I would like to have 4 or 5 kids do a study, a research paper. I will pay for them to do it. I will donate money to the school to get it done. But I want to create the Heller San Diego Home Report brought to you by the University of San Diego as an example. And my clients that are doing this, my friends, they're getting this fantastic correlation. The first one that did it was Andy C., who, if you know that name, Andy is Intero Real Estate's #1 agent. Last year, he did, I think, like 30 million shy of $1 billion in sales. He's the #1 agent in San Jose, Saratoga, Sunnyvale. If you know kind of the Silicon Valley marketplace, does 1/3 of all the transactions. Absolute beast. But we were looking for a correlation on pricing. And here's what we discovered after getting some kids for him, his kids in college, stats and econ, the correlation between Apple stock and the Silicon Valley home prices. And as Apple rises, guess what happens to home prices? It's about a 3-week lag. It goes up every single time. The reason why this matters is you need something unique and different for you in the marketplace beyond just, the market. Let's talk about it. Look at number 4. These people are all creating a ton of content right now, more than they probably ever created. And many of you know I got onto YouTube in 2007. And prior to that, I was doing audio podcast messages. And I was about to sign a deal with a little company called BlackBerry to put out all my content there. My buddy David On, who was at YouTube, said, don't do that. You should get on YouTube. So I've been doing this for a while. The spike of the agent brand has never been greater that we're seeing today because they're putting out content. But heads up, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but just know this. If you're repeatedly doing this, now is a great time to buy. Now is a great time to sell. Call me. Please don't take this personally. That content is stupid. It is absolutely stupid. What is great right now is content where you're educating people on what's happening in the marketplace. You're explaining what's going on in your local news, right? Contrasting that to the national stories. Check out, maybe he's out there watching right now. One of my clients, Jeremy Knight, Knight. Anybody in Austin would know Jeremy Knight. Did $1.2 million, just shy of that last year in gross commission income with 0 advertising. You know what he does? He takes every Austin real estate related or businesses moving into town, and he does a green screen behind it and says, Tesla's moving into town, and this is what it means to you. Here's what the national news says. Home prices are going down, but here's what's actually happening in Austin. He is the real estate news for people on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and more, creating a brand based upon being the local expert, know, like, and trust, and they're winning at scale, and you should do the same. Now, number 5 should seem obvious. All of them have brilliant marketing, but the 3 pillars, one of which I just discussed, all of you need to be thinking about this. If I gave you a stool and there was only one leg, would you want to sit on it? The answer is, of course you wouldn't. You would fall over. Well, what do you think happens in a changing market, in a volatile market with an agent who's got a one-trick pony business? All their business comes from demand gen. All their business comes from brand, or all their business comes from referrals. We need to have all 3 to have stability. And we're going to go into a bunch of listing attraction strategies around this today, but I need to get your mindset right around it first. The last one is they all trade time for money. They all trade money for time. I said it the wrong way. It's the highest and best use. See, I don't have clients that are doing this. Let me take a photo of the listing. No, they hire that out. I don't have clients that are working on their own transaction. They hire that out. I have clients that don't even show property. They hire that out. One of my clients we literally just worked on today, she gets about 20 listings a month in New Jersey. Shout out to Jill Biggs. You know what she does? She takes the inbound call after it's scrubbed by one of her ISAs. She gets on the phone, determines, is this a non-owner occupied? Is this a higher end seller in the Hoboken, Jersey City market? Or is this someone that is maybe the average sales price? Do I need to go, or can I send somebody else? It's highest and best use right now to scale and to serve more clients. Think about it. Now, number 7 should seem obvious, but I had to make it big. These guys and gals are all making phone calls every day. And if you don't have the discipline today in this environment to acknowledge that what got you here is probably not going to get you where you want to be, that you've got to become more disciplined with calling your past clients, calling your sphere, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I think you know what I mean. You need to be more aggressive on the outbound side in the obvious channels where you get business from. And then the last one is they choose their hard. And this is really kind of a Tom Ferryism, because I remind people all the time, it's hard in a high interest rate market. It's also hard in a low interest rate market. Remember writing, 5 offers with one client and losing every single time? That's hard. Now it's hard because you have to talk about, their payment versus, say, purchase price and resetting expectations. That's also hard. Every market is hard. Choose your hard. But here's the thing. You got to do the work. No matter what, you got to do the work. So those are the 8 things that I would say would be principles, philosophies for you to take on. You're going to get a copy of all these slides. I think you hang them up on your wall. You get honest about, am I innovating enough? Am I as competitive as I need to be? Am I really understanding the market and seeking correlations that I can talk about that are interesting? Am I creating content that's like, list with me and not getting any responses? Or am I actually being the educator in the marketplace? Do I have a business that has referrals, brand, and demand gen, all 3 helping me scale and serve more? Am I making my phone calls? Am I choosing my hard? I think you guys get the message.